Master Yin coming to the stage.
Hold on, Master.
Okay. Greetings, distinguished guests of the band. I come before you today as a current member of the Church of Transfiguration's men's choir, a member of the vestry, and an alumnus of the current boys and girls choir. I've been with the choir in the church since I was around 7 years old, and looking back, I believe there was no period of my life more formative than my time with the boys and girls choir. It started when my mother heard of a children's choir performing in Midtown and decided to drag me and my brother down to see. I still remember my mom urging each of us to go up to Claudia after the service and being asked on the spot to repeat a few notes. At the time, I was completely clueless as to what my mother was getting us into. A few weeks of rehearsal later, and I was finally allowed to sing for my first morning mass. Up bright and early on a Sunday morning, followed by an exhausting commute on the subway. Imagine the look on my face when I was told I was going to be doing that every week from now on. Between rehearsals and performances, I believe I gained something that truly changed the trajectory of my life. No, it wasn't perfect pitch, as much as I wish it was. It was an ability that pushed me from someone who had no real vision of their future to someone who could maybe make out a vague silhouette. The ability to actively listen. During rehearsal, Claudia would often stress the importance of listening to one another. And while I most definitely didn't get it at first, I slowly understood that singing in a choir isn't just about knowing your part, although that is a pretty important part of it. It's also about listening to your neighbor to create a harmonious blend of voices. I believe that the most important thing to do is to listen. Not to blindly follow or obey, but actively listening with your mind and your soul. I believe that it has made me a more prudent and empathetic person and allowed me to embark on my artistic journey. While I call myself an illustrator, I like to think of it closer to my activities as a choir member. Not only because I love sketching on my music covers and the Sunday bulletins, but because it's a very similar thought process to making music. I like to see similarly to how I listen. An exercise a lot of beginner illustrators like to do is to draw a reference picture upside down. This completely bypasses your left brain activity, which likes to recognize patterns and simplify them, instead allowing your right brain, the more intuitive and creative side, to take over, most often leading me back like a well-drawn piece. While I'm not a right-brained artist per se, I like to think I use more of it than I let on. Oftentimes, when the big sketch is laid out and I'm ready to commit, but just one or two parts of it are strange or off-putting, I like to cover it up and listen to what the rest of the piece says it should look like. Very much like listening to the other parts to find your note. I believe that singing is very right-brained, and my habits as a singer have heavily influenced my habits as an illustrator. For this, I'm immensely indebted to the choir. As I start my semester at one of the premier art schools in the city, the Fashion Institute of Technology, I will always hold the church and the choir in a special place in my heart. That kind of makes it sound like I'm leaving, doesn't it? The school is 2 blocks down from the church. You won't get rid of it. The lessons I learned in the choir will stick with me for the rest of my life. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have been part of such a wonderful experience. I really believe that all the good things for me that have come out of 2024 are because of my time in the Church of Transfiguration's Boys and Girls Choir.
Beautiful job, Master. One more time, Master.
Yeah, Asher. Yeah.
that's over with.
I'm going to let you know we are doing last call for this time off stream.